Hi everyone, let me ask you something. Do casinos gamble? Of course not. They operate like machines. Every game, every decision, every rule is built on one thing, a tiny edge, repeated thousands of times. That is exactly how you should trade. Let's start the video. Trade like a casino. How to build an edge. Casinos win not by luck, but by edge. Casinos don't predict, they play the odds. Casinos don't need to predict the outcome of any single spin, hand, or roll of the dice. They don't care about the next result. What they care about is this. Over the next 10,000 plays, our edge will make us profitable. They are not emotional. They are not reactive. They just execute their edge over and over. Traders, we often try to guess what will happen next. That is the wrong question. Stop asking, will this trade win? Start asking, does this setup have an edge? Think on process, not outcome base. Profit expectancy isn't prediction, it is math. What is an edge? An edge is repeatable situation in the market that over time gives you a positive expected value. In simple terms, it is a setup where when you win more than you lose, or you win more often than you lose, or both. Let's say your average win is $100 and your average loss is $90 and your win rate is 50%. That is an edge. Here is the math that we talked about the last video. Here is the formula. When we calculate this, that is a 5 cents edge per trade, right? Now, 5 cents doesn't sound like much, I know that. But multiply that by thousands of trades. That is how casinos print money, and that is how traders build consistent results. Your edge needs to volume to be read. Law of large numbers. Here is the hard truth. Your edge doesn't work over 5 trades, or 10, or even 50. It works over hundreds. It is called the law of large numbers. Over a large enough sample, your actual results will start to reflect your expectancy. But most traders never make it that far. They give up after a losing streak. They jump systems. They tweak rules. They chase performance. So they never let their edge to play out. Your job is not to predict. Your job is to repeat your edge. Survival lets the edge play out. Risk management like a casino. Now, here is the most important part. Even with a great edge, casinos can lose money in the short term. That is why they manage risk. They set table limits. They bond card counters. They never bet the entire vault on one spin of the wheel. You need to think the same way. Position sizing, stop losses, capital allocation. That is your version of risk control. Because the edge is useless if you go broke before it plays out. Be the host, not the gambler. Emotionless execution. Casinos don't get emotional. They don't celebrate wins or mourn losses. Why? because they trust the math. That's why you need to become a professional executor of a probabilistic edge. Discipline matters, but discipline without a valid edge, that is just emotional endurance for slow losses. Build your edge. Execute it like a machine. Let the math work. So next time you place a trade, ask yourself, am I being gambler or am I operating like a casino? Because if you build an edge, manage your risk, and repeat it over and over time, you don't need to guess. You just need to show up.